Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline. This week, we are talking what was the big purchase I made, and have I got a review for you? Maybe. Some holiday activities, including a couple of places that we've been and visited and what they might have in store. Some sad stuff that I had to deal with, and things that I wish I knew sooner. Movies galore this week, no TV. Games galore, and a bonus thing about games. Stay tuned to find out what that one is. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Obviously the big one, the one that we in the podcast community love the most, is share this bad boy. Honestly, if you just want to annoy someone, send it to them. Maybe. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline. Hello! Yes, it's me. Again. Back again with the... No, never mind. I'm not even going to attempt that one. I have a weird... Anyway, that's not important. Talk about putting it off. Procrastinating. Not for any real reason. Not like I was avoiding the subject. It was more of a... There's too much. There's too much to do in life. Like adding something to your podcast list that you've completely forgotten. And then getting a message that you feel you have to respond to. That was rude, wasn't it? And another one. How rude. How rude. You should fire me immediately. How are you doing? You well? Let's talk. I was going to say let's get this bit out of the way. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, let's make sure to cover the important stuff. How are you doing? Are you well? I hope you are well. I really do. From the bottom of my tiny little black heart, I hope you're doing well. And if you're not, hit me up. Last week, I mentioned a large purchase. Well, it's time to talk about my large purchase. And you are more than free to feel that I am insane. And if you haven't done that already, then maybe now's the time. I upgraded the Steam Deck to the OLED version. I went for the absolute tippity top. There's been very much a kind of half waiting to see if they would announce a new one, which they haven't. And myself and Edward had a conversation at one point where we did some Googling, and it basically was highlighted that there is no plans for a new version of the Steam Deck anytime soon. And ultimately that was enough for me, because I'd looked at maybe purchasing one a little while ago, which is a really long story about saving money. I'm not even going to go into it. Anyway, the whole process was mostly okay, mostly perfectly fine. There was a lot of like, oh, is it right? Have I done it right? Oh my God, did I do it right? And then there was just a lot of like tracking, because it comes from a different country. I believe it comes from, I'm sure somebody said it was Denmark, but I'm not sure. I think it's De Nederlands, of some description. And there was a lot of, it was sent over a weekend, so there was just nothing happening. And then Tuesday last week, I was in the bathroom and the window was open and I heard a large van coming up the street, and I went, that is absolutely my new Steam Deck. So I hurried down the stairs and yep, the guy was like, got a delivery for you, here you go. So let's go through a few things. Now I know what you're thinking. Why do you need a new Steam Deck? Again, that is a long story involving one Steam account, a Steam family setup, the realization that if Steam is running on one Steam Deck, you can't use it on the PC, and a load of other things. Like I can give you a catalogue of reasons, and you are well within your rights to believe that those reasons are all fabricated. But I believe they're legitimate. One of us is right. Who's to say? Anyway, guy handed me this box, and the box was cool. It's got these like what initially looked like just delivery instruction pictures, like, you know, when you get like the flat pack pictures, like lift 2 people need to lift this and all this. Initially it looks like that, but when you look at the actual pictures, it's like the box from Portal. There was another one that was game related, and then it was like, it's breakable, don't get it wet, don't use a magnet. And then the last one was the Steam symbol. So I was like, well, I think we can work out what this might be. Did a little unboxing, not an unboxing video, did an unboxing with my eldest. I felt that she might be the tougher audience to crack. I'll double back to that, I think. But there was a lot of oohs and ahs from me as I was unboxing it, and I was like, oh, you know, this has got this and it does this, and it's got this different case, and it's got a different thing, and it's different this and it's different that. Very much hamming up that it is different, even though it looks the same. It had a cool, like, I like little details. I imagine at this point in time that's become quite evident. I like little details. It's a thing because I think it makes an experience. And the 2 zips have like a way that you can lock it, and it had a valve, like plastic seal clasp thing through it, which I had to cut off. That was fun. I got it open and got the deck out, and immediately went, oh wow, it's actually thinner and it's actually lighter, like noticeably lighter. The Steam Deck is one of those things that you go, it's a little bit heavier than you want it to be. And then you have to develop what's known as the Steam Deck posture hold, where you lock in your elbows and you lock your arms and you hold on to it for dear life until both arms go to sleep, and then you have to move into a different position, which I believe is universal. The OLED version is noticeably lighter. So it was the first thing I was like, wow, that is a lot lighter. The screen is a touch bigger, as is advertised, and like I say, some cool little details. The case, you can take the case apart to have a hard shell case or the full case. Whereas the original case has just got the Steam logo printed. This has got it like a plastic embossed one. The zips are white rather than black. There's a steam cleaning, not steam, the gas, yeah, version of water. The product, cleaning cloth in it and all this, and turning it on, sticking the existing SD card in it. All the games were there. It was a realization further on the line that I was like, oh, all the startup movies will be installed on the internal hard drive. So I had to install the many startup movies that we have. So I was like, look, I really want to protect this one. So I got some thumb grips on it straight away, and I ordered a protective screen, which in hindsight I should have probably done sooner so that it was there to be installed straight away, but that was that. And then spent the rest of that day installing a game, which is a whole other story, something I'll go into again in a bit. And the new Steam Deck got stuck in this install loop where it was trying to install an update for a game whilst also trying to install a different game, whilst also trying to do a load of updates for a load of other games because it detected that all these games were new in a sense. So it ultimately wasn't doing anything for the best part of 2 days. There was a point where I was like, I've had this thing for a couple of days and I haven't played a game on it yet. So there was that weird realization. It's super cool. It's super fun. It plays real well. It runs a lot longer. The screen's bigger and better. It plays real nice. I've had no touch wood issues from anything particularly. Do I regret spending the money is probably a question that I should look at. And what I would say is at this point, I have this thing like, if you, let's say you spend £500 on something and you use it once, it costs you £500. If you spend £500 on something and it costs you, and you use it twice, it costs you £250 a time. Use it 10 times, it costs you £50, and so on. The more you use it, the more use you get out of it, the less it costs you. Is a way that realistically I used to justify massive spendings when I was younger. And I sometimes still do it. I saved and saved and saved. Sometimes, like at £4, I'd put £4 into my Steam account, going, that's £4 closer. I've had a birthday, a Christmas, and there was one other. See, there's a part of me that wants to say Father's Day, but I don't think it was. I think it was maybe something like Valentine's Day, where I've had multiple like monetary amounts gone into it, or vouchers given for it, or, you know, there was a point in time where I was kind of saving up for it. Then there was a point in time where I was kind of thinking a little bit more seriously about it. And then there was a point in time where I was like, look, I think I need to pull the trigger on this. And then from that point on, it was just save. And there you go. Do I regret it? Not overly. Stop buying coffee. So, I was spending too much money on coffee a month. All that money you could say that's gone into that. Have I gained a couple of interesting benefits from having a new Steam Deck, or what you might refer to as a second Steam Deck? Absolutely. Like I say, we'll come to that in a bit. Again, I've missed something off my list. God, why am I doing a podcast when I can't even write a list? So, there we go. Brand new Steam Deck. It is sat next to me calling my name because of a game situation that I'll also come on to in a little bit. Anyway, let's move away from that now, because there's 2 or 3 things that are going to come up in the podcast where I'm going to talk about it. So no need to just keep going over and over and over. I could talk at length about setting up the family account, getting Leanne set up on it, getting my eldest set up on it, and all of that. But I think for now, let's move on, shall we? Have a little wet of the whistle. Moved. The whistle is wet for the next few minutes. Holidays last week. Summer holidays, kids' holidays. Had all the children for a week. Did many different things, some of which we'll go through. One of those things was we went to the maze. Me and my eldest were having a conversation about whether we've done the maze every year, and a lot about the weather for it. A few things to go through. It was weirdly quiet. We all commented on how quiet it was. It was a bit like, wow, it's quiet. Now, I said a couple of things. 1, we've got here just after opening. 2, the weather's not supposed to be amazing today. I don't think it's going to rain, but it's basically kind of on the brink of rain. So people might not come today for that reason, but I think it will get busy as the day goes on. And I was categorically wrong. It never got any busier than it was at that point in time. We could literally walk onto things. So much so that I was about to say the girls, but all of the kids went on these giant slides, and they were basically just like, you can just go on again if you want. There's no one else here. So there was a lot of that. We went to go on the big ride attraction thing that we like to go on when we're there, and we walked on. No queue, no nothing. We walked on and went on this ride. A few more of those phrases where I say, we like to do this, we like to do that, has pushed me down the route of, I think this might be the last time we go for a little while, maybe a year or so, because I don't want to be the family that says, well, it's the holiday, so we do this. I'm very much in this camp of we're trying not to just keep repeating stuff over and over and over, because then people don't want to do it. So much so that I've got next week of holidays with all the children, and we're looking at booking to go to a place that, from all of the videos they have on their website, looks super cool and a lot of fun. It's also very expensive. But hey, kind of goes hand in hand these days. So we went to the maze. And we were like, oh, let's go on this bit. And the kids were straight on. Oh, let's go on this. Kids were straight on. Let's go on this. One of the things is, when you're not queuing for everything, you get through stuff fairly quickly. And I was like, well, let's slow roll this bit so that we can, go and do that while we're here, and sit and have a whatever, and let's have an ice cream. And there is a hare, and I keep catching it out there. I think it's a cat. I hope I got it, because that is fucking annoying. Let's go and do this, but let's take our time, and let's walk up, and let's take a picture, and let's do it. Because we were just on everything and getting through everything. we reached a point where we were like, right, we're at the very tip top. Let's start working our way back and go to do the things that we want to do. Anything that involves getting wet, now would be the time to do it. We got absolutely drenched on one of the rides. And then one of the other things was very much a water-based attraction thing. And I think, I don't know if it was me and my son, or me and my eldest, or me on my own, maybe. I wandered off. It was either toilet or coffee, one of the two. When I returned to the fold, they're like, oh, we're going to go into the new attractions. I was like, oh, yeah, what were these again? And it was like, oh, it's a thing, and it's over there. And I'm like, okay, let's go and have a look. I should have known. I should have known, because they had people posted outside, and their questions were, have you been on this before? No. They're new. Okay, we need to make you aware of a few things. There's this and that and the other. So basically, the first one was like a fun house. So you've got the fun house mirrors, you've got the shrinking floor, you've got the moving floor, you've got the gravity defying floors. There was a lot of floor involved. I'm like, sounds great, sounds fun. Leon's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I'm like, you're the one that wanted to come. So off we set, and the first section, funhouse mirrors. Now I'm always a bit like, I never understand why there's such a fascination with the mirrored room thing, because presumably you can tell what's a mirror and what's not. So you just go, well, that's not a mirror. That is, go that way. Surely. You would think. We went round and round and round and round and round and popped out at the start. And I'm like, what the hell happened there? So we tried again. And it happened again. And I think purely by accident, I think one of the kids went the wrong way, which seemed to be the wrong way. And it turned out to be the right way. And off we went, and we were off. Oh my days. I was fine. I did all of the shrinking thing. I had to bend down, bang my head, all of that. Not bothered. I did the gravity thing where it's like the room's on its side. That proper messed with my head a bit, but I managed to get through it. All this, everything's going fine. Everything's going great. Until the end. The last 2 or 3 things. One of them was one of those rooms that you walk through, and it's like there's a tunnel rotating round you. Which obviously it isn't, it's just light projected, but your brain can sometimes play tricks, and that's how that works. You feel like, oh, it's all... Now, something that I don't talk about a lot, because obviously it's a weakness, is... over a series of months or whatever, I have had a variety of different bouts of dizziness. Some have been particularly bad. Some have involved me not being able to stand properly and things like that. Variety of different reasons. I'm pretty sure it's an inner ear thing. I know, like, my grandma had crippling vertigo at one point and stuff like that. I don't know. Sometimes, like, the question is it a blood pressure thing or whatever it is? Over the last few months, it's something that I have experienced and had to sort of deal with. This tunnel thing set this thing off, and I just kept saying to people, I was like, look at the floor and just keep moving. I was like, I'm sure there's a thing that if you look at the horizon for seasickness, and I was like, I'm sure there's a thing that if you look at the floor and you look at the way you're going, you can get round what your brain thinks is happening. But it didn't work. So by the time we got through this tunnel, I was super dizzy, super disorientated, and I felt super sick. And I was like, I think I'm going to be sick. I feel like I'm going to be sick. This is bad. Now, I'm at the back of the family. Probably for the best at this point, because that meant that like a lot of them couldn't see what was going on with me. And I was panicking. So I think the next couple of things, these were like the last few things. The next couple of things were like a bit like wibbly wobbly floor sort of situations. And then you were out. I come out and I'm like, I've got to play this one down, but I am in a bad way, like a really bad way. I was like, I think I'm going to be sick. I'm not sure if I'm still dizzy. I'm not sure if I can stand or walk properly or whatever. So we come out of there. There are 2 attractions. The other one is, this one's a lot less fun house and a lot more scary. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Half of the rest of them are like, we're off. My eldest is like, come on, let's go. I'm like, now I am feeling not brilliant. A little green round the gills. I'm like, I don't want to do this. There's a story about me and a haunted house that is very famous in our house. I was like, I don't want to do a attraction like that. So there was a lot of conversations with the guys like, how scary is it? Is it scary? All this. I was like, I don't want to end up punching anybody, you know. They were like, how did you feel about that? I was like, they were like, there's no like, you know, there's no issues. It's just different but similar. I was like, that helps. So I sucked it up and we went. Now then, I will say this. I don't think all of the things were working in this second one. It was very Aztec themed. Me and my eldest have been watching a lot of Indiana Jones, so it kind of fit in with some of the stuff we've been watching. And I was like, this is cool, sort of thing. But I was just waiting for the scary thing. I was like, oh, there's going to be like, there's a sarcophagus there. There's going to be a mummy that jumps out on us, and I'm going to be like, oh no. None of that happened. So I'm like, okay. When you'd walk into some of the rooms, there'd be like a click. And I'm like, oh, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. And then nothing happened. And I was like, I think there's a lot more that's supposed to be happening now that isn't. I think that a lot of the stuff in here is just not turned on, or is broken, or is not working. And you go in some of the rooms and you'd be like, oh, that's cool. That's interesting. I bet if it was working, it would be better. We went into a room where when you stepped on like the floor, it started moving. But it didn't do it the first time. So you could see like the sections of the floor where it was going to do something. I step on the first one and nothing happens. I was like, yeah, I think it's kind of broken in here. I step on the second one and it started. I was like, you bastards. There was some like moving floor panels, and it was like the second one was fine. My expectations were a lot higher, and I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done. Like there was some like tight corners and this, that, and the other. But it was huge. It just went on and on and on and on and on, and I'm like, how big is this freaking place? It's massive. So they've done well. So another one of those where I feel like we could tick off that it was an enjoyable time. It was a good time. I believe we all had fun. And that was that. That was the maze for this year. If that's how we want to word it. So, we get through the week relatively unscathed. Nobody died. Nobody was hurt. We'd done some stuff. We'd had some time a bit more relaxed than previous holidays. It was all good and groovy. Friday rolls around. I'm like, right, guys, we are going to do a couple of things. We're going to end the week on a bang. So we're going to do a couple of things. And luckily for everybody, it's payday today. So I can stop taking an absolute shoeing in the wallet/bank account area. And I can offset some of this by the fact that we get paid. So I was like, let's do some big stuff. Let's go big or go home. So I paid for us to go trampolining. Now, the reason we don't go trampolining is it costs an absolute fortune. Like, it is so insanely expensive. I don't know why anybody would ever do it. That will play into the story later. Get into a conversation where Leanne's like, you do know that you don't, because she was like, you go and you can bounce this time. And I was like, I bloody well can't. She's like, you actually can because you've got no reason not to. I was like, uh-huh. She was like, okay, looking at the tickets, it's going to be this much. I was like, right, okay, that's fine. She was like, you don't actually have to bounce because they're all old enough to do it unsupervised. And I was like, sweet. A little bit later, she was like, however, looking at it for this much money, and it was something like £4. She was like, it kind of works out cheaper if you do it with them. So it was like, buy 3 individual tickets or buy a family ticket for £4 more. I'm like, she was like, look, you know they're going to enjoy it if you join in, and it's £4. I was like, right. She was like, oh, you'll need some socks, so it's going to cost you £7 more. I was like, fine, whatever. I'm like, as long as it heightens their enjoyment, yeah, I'll give it a go. We go to the trampoline place. We get there. We are the only family going in. There's a family coming out. I don't even think there was a family. There was like 2 people coming out. We are the only family going in. Now, what I will say is this. Shortly after we went in, a family of 3 with 2 parents and a young child came in. That was it. There was me and 3 of my children and 3 other people in the entire place. Another example of somebody's like, it's quiet in here. I was like, Again, it's early and it's eye-wateringly expensive, so I can't imagine people are blowing their load on, let's go and do the super expensive thing week 1 of the holidays. But what it does mean is we have the whole place to ourselves, pretty much. So I'm like, right, let's do it, let's go, rah! And off we went. There was a point where I was like, this might be what kills me. Because I reckon my heart rate was probably in the like 160 to 180 kind of area. I got an opportunity to use my climbing ability because the place is like, are you a climber? You better be, because you need it for this, and this. Weirdly, and this is one of the bits where I was a bit like, there wasn't a lot of trampolining going on. We went on like this inflatable obstacle course thing and basically just spent probably half the time we were there just climbing up the climbing bit and sliding down the slide as like various different like parent-child type situations. There was some, we did some bouncy basketball. We did some trampoline races where we just raced one end to the other. I lost all of them. Even with my youngest daughter. I don't know how I felt about that. Then there was like these obstacle courses you could do like for people my size. So that was fine. But then there was this like obstacle course bit where you could only go on if you were below a certain height. And I was like, oh man, that bit looks cool. I want to go on there. Being somebody that works out regularly, runs regularly, climbs regularly, and a multitude of other sort of, other exercise-related things, I can safely say I have never sweated like that in a long time. And I sweat most days for a lot of time. I started fearing for my health a couple of points down because I was like, my heart might just explode at this point in time. That might be the end of me. They might be calling an ambulance. Luckily for everybody involved, it was just an hour and I did not die. I do wish I'd taken a change of t-shirt at the very least. But that was that. I really enjoyed it. I think we all really enjoyed it. I think it was a great experience. I would personally do it again. I wish it wasn't as expensive as it is. I often think a business should look at 10 o'clock on a Friday morning in the kids' holidays. And if you are empty, you maybe want to be looking at the reason why. Because if you're empty in the summer holidays, something's gone wrong. But anyway, we had 25 minutes to get from the trampoline place to the cinema, which I'll talk about briefly in a bit. We went to the cinema and we watched a movie. Like I say, I'll talk about that in a bit. Came out of the cinema, checked my phone as you do, and I had a text message. And the text message was from my boss. And I was like, oh shit. And it was one of those messages. Hi, I appreciate you're on holiday this week. Just wondering if you can let me know when I can give you a call. I mean, nothing about that sounds good. Am I the only person who, in that situation, works on the principle that for some reason you're getting fired? Like, every time. I never look at that and go, ooh, they're ringing to tell me that I've won a prize and I get a week's free holiday. They're not ringing me to say, we're so happy with all the work you've been doing recently, we're going to give you a massive bonus. It's never that. We've found a piece of work you didn't do. We've had an email from somebody complaining about something. We've decided to let you go because we've got too many staff. You're terrible at your job. Don't come in on Monday. Or a multitude of other things. So I see this message and I go, shit. This is not good. I've got 3/4 of my kids with me. I'm like, how do I deal with this? Do I go, I'm on holiday. I don't need to respond to this. I don't need this. I'll be back in on Monday. I can deal with it then. No, because then it's going to play on your mind all weekend. Let's just get it out of the way. So I sent a message. I was like, really sorry, I've just come out of the cinema. I'm available now, or you can ring me in half an hour when I'm back home. Basically doing I'm with my children, so if you're going to fire me, maybe they don't need to see that. So your choice on that one. I'm giving you the information. The phone started ringing almost immediately. And again, I went, Shit. Hey, how you doing? I'm alright, how are you doing? Yeah, good, thanks. How's your holiday? Yeah, it's going okay. It's busy, but it's been fun so far. Yeah, sorry, obviously I appreciate you're on holiday. However, we've got some news and didn't want you to find out in an email and didn't want you to have to wait until Monday. I'm like, they're closing the department. Shit. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And then my boss proceeded to inform me that somebody I work with, somebody on my team, had passed away the night before. And it was one of those, I was like, holy fucking shit, man. Which obviously you can't say in that situation, even though that's... And I was like, what the fuck? Again, didn't say that. I was like, I said, oh no, you're kidding. And went, why did you say that? Of course you're not kidding. You didn't ring me up to joke about something like this, you fucking moron. So they were like, my boss was like, look, some people have worked with this person for a lot of years. I was like, I've worked with her for the best part of 20 years. He was like, yeah, so obviously I can understand that it might be difficult and stuff. I was like, Just like the people that work with her closely in the same areas, in the same team, they've gone for the day. They weren't able to handle it. I was like, I'm not fucking surprised. And then I got some of the details, which was basically like, had been unwell for a couple of weeks and then passed away the night before. Had been informed by the family. I was like, fuck. Now, I'd put the kids in the car, got them set up with some lunch, and shut the doors when the phone rang. And then basically I had the conversation. I was like, look, I appreciate you letting me know. I really do. It's a shitty job to have to do, like ringing around people who aren't in and just dealing with it in general. So I'm sorry that's what you're having to do with your day, but I really do appreciate you letting me know. And I'll see you on Monday, sort of thing. I don't deal with death well. I don't have the capacity to deal with it. Another thing is that I carry these people with it. If you've ever seen Coco, the Disney movie, there's this thing about the people that have died are kept alive by people remembering them. And when people stop remembering them, they basically disappear from the afterlife. When there's nobody left to remember them, then they are gone from the afterlife, and that's the end of that person. And I sometimes think about it, and I think, anybody that I've met in my life that's passed away doesn't need to worry about that for the next X amount of time, because I carry those people with me. Somebody I worked with 20... I'm trying to think. Could be 25 years ago. Somebody I worked with 25 years ago passed away. I was mortified. I was crushed. One of those people that just the nicest person you could ever hope to meet. The nicest person. Passed away. They'd had up and down problems with sickness and illness and things like that, and they passed away. And for a while, we knew that they'd had cancer, and then they'd got over it, and they'd come back to work, and everything was fine. And then they went off again, and then they didn't come back to work, and they passed away. And I always say that that person had that many people at their funeral that the people were outside the funeral home. They were queuing out into the corridors, out the door, out into the outside of the crematorium, not funeral, crematorium. They were outside. And it always stuck with me in that sense of, can you imagine being that well liked and well regarded? There was a lady who was a friend of my mother's who passed away. I carry her with me. Just these people, like, even like famous people who you've kind of grown up with, that have passed away. Like, I can't watch anything with Robin Williams in. Can't watch anything with Robin Williams in. Just cannot do it. Chadwick Boseman, people like that. I'm just like, I can't do it. Anybody that's wondering, Chadwick Boseman died at the age that I was when he died. So it stuck with me. Just like I used to work in a shop many moons ago. The girl I worked with, her partner passed away. Family members of more recent times that have passed away. I mean, that's obvious. I had a conversation like literally a couple of hours ago, and family member came up who passed away, and I was like, talking about a situation. I was like, well, it depends about this situation, because if it's connected to that person, then absolutely not, sort of thing. I carry all of these people with me. I don't know if that's just some sort of weird role. Animals. All the animals I know that have passed away. Etc, etc, etc. Each one of these people has meant something different to me. Like, each one of these people I've had this weird individual connection with. And for this lady that has passed last week, the thing I keep thinking is that she was there. I have this image of her sitting across from me. She always sat in the same seat, like 2 seats away, sitting across from me. And my image of her is that she was there the last time I was in the office, and now she's not. And there's just, in my mind, when I look at that picture, there's just this void, like somebody cut out the image out of the picture. And this might sound weird or whatever, but Bill Burr did this thing about, like, his latest stand-up special was called The Drop Dead Years, because he was saying, like, you've entered into a time where people just drop dead. People are just gone because you've reached a certain age. And I'm like, is that where we are now? Is that this? People were just there one day and then they're not. Obviously, in certain situations, you look at how they are for you. So you question whether that's how it will go for you. You were there one day and then you weren't, because that is how it goes. Death only affects the living, as they say. It's very sad. It's very few deaths out there are happy deaths, let's put it that way. Sad times. Weirdly difficult going back into the office today. There was an email about it from that side of things. Yeah, just sad. She was a nice lady. I had a conversation last night where I was saying, I wish now that I could go back in time. I think we all feel that way. We all feel that way. I wish I could go back in time to, there's a specific point in time, a specific moment where I was, in some ways, at the absolute peak of my physicality. I remember this moment in time so well. I stepped out of bed one morning to get up, to get ready to go to work. Now, in those days, I'll have stepped out of bed probably 10 minutes before I needed to be at work. So, just rushing out of bed to get dressed to go. And as I got out of bed, I looked down and I went, whoa, what the fuck? I was like, I think I'm getting abs. And I looked and I was like poking and prodding and whatever. I was like, oh my God, I think I'm developing abs. That's insane. That's crazy. That's amazing. Now, we don't want to look at why that may have been. We don't want to look at how much food I was consuming in a week, or should I say how little food I was consuming in a week. We don't want to look at any other things I may have been consuming at that point in time. We certainly don't want to look at how much dancing I was doing, how much walking I was doing, like running around all over the place. I would say how much drinking I was doing, but I think that was probably the least of my worries at that point in time. My body's output was so insanely high that I don't think anything would have touched my system. Like, I think the small amount of food I was eating in those days won't have registered because I will have been burning white hot for the amount of output. Not super surprising then. I wish I could go back to that moment and appear in that room to my younger self and say, dude, let me tell you something. If you stop doing everything you're doing now, mostly, quit all of those things that you will eventually quit over the next few years, and instead start eating a shit ton of protein, working out, take up running as a hobby, and really focus on like health and fitness, you could be in a whole other world than what you are going to be. Because that man all those years ago decided at the moment that he went, holy shit, I think I can see abs. That was only half a sentence. The rest of the sentence was, I best do something about that. And I proceeded to attempt to eat myself to death. Honestly, that was my goal. And if the food wasn't going to kill me, there was damn sure going to be something else that would. So, I wish I could go back to that moment and say, bro, stop doing these things, start doing these things, start increasing these things, keep increasing these things. You will thank me in the future. But as I was having this conversation, I was like, and do you know something? You know something I know? With 100% certainty, the younger version of me would have looked at the old man standing in front of him and gone, sure, Grandpa, I'll get right on that. And I would have completely ignored everything that I was being told. So it's weird to look back now and think, fuck, man, I wish I'd have got into X, Y, and Z so much earlier in life. I wish I'd have continued down a certain path. This is not my first go around of trying to eat healthier, trying to work out more, trying to exercise, trying to be more active, because that's another separate thing on top of the things that I just mentioned. Being more active, moving more it's a separate thing. This is not my first rodeo. But I wish all that time ago that had been the start of something instead of being the start of something else. I'll give you an example. Saturday. I stepped on the scale Saturday morning and was mortified. I was like, for fuck's sake. I was coming in heavy at that point of the week. Staring down the barrel of a Sunday fasting session. Great. It's always good to drop a few pounds on a Sunday. Go into a Monday weigh-in. Blah, 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 blah. But I was coming in too heavy because my plan for Saturday was cheat meal. Like I said, Sunday fast comes in handy. Cheat meal is a relative term, and what's relative about it is it's not a cheat meal if you have a high protein pizza. Still a cheat meal, still pizza. I looked at the scales and the scale said no. And I went, fuck. So I was having a conversation with Leanne and she was like, well, okay, you're saying you can't do the protein, you can't do the whatever. Okay. What if you just have a massive plate of protein? I'm like, go on. She's like, the freezer is getting out of hand. We need to start eating stuff out of the freezer. And I've looked in, let's call it the vegetarian drawer for the purpose of this. And there's a load of vegetarian stuff that's going uneaten because obviously I ain't eating it. I was like, okay. She's like, there's a box of burgers there. They've been there for ages. You haven't eaten them. Why don't you just eat them? I'm like, it's not the worst idea. I was like, a load of veggie burgers. I was like, I do some veg. Yeah, do you know what? That sounds like a plan. It helps the freezer situation. It helps the fact that it's a load of protein. It helps the fact that I wanted a meal that was different to celebrate the fact that it was Saturday. I was like, this ticks a lot of boxes. I was like, I'll maybe zhuzh it up a bit. I'll see. I did a load of veg, and I mean like a metric shit ton of veg. I did the burgers. I put some cheese slices on them, but they were light cheese slices. They were and when I say practically, I don't mean practically. In places they were see-through. So just picture that. I think I burnt myself 3 times on the air fryer making them. I'm like, this is a fucking shit show. I was like, right, it's time to go full zhuzh. So I put a drizzle of spicy relish on one of them. A drizzle of American mustard on one. A drizzle barbecue sauce. And I think I put light mayonnaise on the other one. I sat down, I looked at my plate, depressed, miserable. Like, fuck this shit, I fucking hate this shit, this is fucking retarded. I mean, R-worded. I'm like, well, I guess this is my lot in life. Best get on it. Ate the veg whilst eating the burgers, just one after another after another. I think I had like a protein-related pudding of some description. And that was me done for the day. Got up the next day, stepped on the scales, ready for my full day of fasting. And the scale said, you lost weight. I'm like, well, what? What are we talking about here? Scale's like, yeah, you lost weight, and not a little bit. You lost a chunk of weight, like a pound of weight. I'm like, I ate more than a pound. In fact, the burgers were quarter pounders. I ate 4. I ate a pound. All that veg was probably another couple of pounds there. I was like, yes, Saturday is a excessive exercise day to some degrees. So that was that, but maybe there's something in this. So I've basically pushed my protein intake through the roof. Now, what I will say is this. Sunday fasting, Monday today, so not much protein eating. in the last 48 hours. However, I have eaten enough protein today to last me 2 days. So, we'll see what the scales look like in the morning. What I can tell you is this. I lost weight this week, and it was like 1.4 of a pound. Is that how you say that? 1.4 of a pound. I don't think it is. You would say 0.4 of a pound, but it wasn't. It was 1 pound 4 ounces. Does that work better? Anyway, it was 1.4. From last week, which, as I was boring Leanne with this morning, if you look at over a 6-week period, 4 of the 6 lost weight. Week 5, not in order, no weight loss. And I think this week 6 of a 6-week block, again, not in order. I think there was one of them I put weight on. So, that was like quick maths. It was like something like 80% of the time in the last 6 weeks I've lost weight. It's slow going. I am 1 pound off the lowest weight ever. Do I think I'll see that next Monday? No, I don't. What I had to do to get to that lowest weight was nothing short of insanity, but no more insane than anything I've done this year. So, we shall see. We shall see. That's because I'm reading the next thing on my list. The next thing on my list is I am experiencing trouble sleeping. Why, you ask? Guilty conscience. No, I know why it is. I know the exact reason. And I know what you're thinking. Well, if you know the reason, why are you doing something about it? It's not quite that simple. Let me explain. I've recently started supplementing creatine. Creatine is a fantastic supplement. Great for muscle growth, but not in the way that was originally thought. Basically, it just retains water in your muscles. Makes your muscles look bigger than they necessarily are. Great. Winner. Love it. Turns out, creatine has a lot of cognitive benefits. Super cool, right? Right? Yeah. Makes you feel more awake, more alert, more able to process stuff in the brain, more able to push out that last rep in the gym. Wildly beneficial for everybody. Everybody should take it. Your body naturally produces it. Women of a certain age, I won't say what age, but a particular age, should absolutely add creatine into their routine every day. I, through a series of long stories, may have been overloading on creatine. Short version long. You only need 5 grams, I think it is, which works out. If you're doing it in powder, you only need like half a scoop of powder, whereas a lot of people are like, have a full scoop. And my whole thing was, if you don't need, if 5 grams is enough, take 5 grams. Your tub's going to last you twice as long. Duh. Now, there are massive benefits to overloading with it. However, overload sounds bad, doesn't it? So don't do it. There are 2 or 3 things that people will tell you are bad for you. All of those things have been proven to be categorically incorrect. So, what is wrong with overloading on creatine? Well, I've been taking 5 grams of creatine every day. Mix it into some juice, have a drink, job done. Move on with your life. take it as early as possible. It is also not time sensitive. You can literally take it whenever. I just take it first thing in the morning because I like to get it done, and then it's in my system. Job done. I have also been having additional creatine as well. Again, much longer story than that, and looking at the time this podcast has already run, don't necessarily need to be going into it now, but it's nothing nefarious. It's just I got a gift that was a different form of creatine, and I don't want to be like, well, I take the powder and you bought me these, so I'm going to keep taking the powder and not take these. So instead, old brain fart over here goes, well, I'll just take both. Obviously, both is overloading. So, as the weeks have been going on, I've been getting into bed and going, this is normally the bit where I pass out. Why is that not happening? And because I'm lying there awake, I'm like, I can process things. Part of the problem. Processing things is part of the problem. My brain is working in a different capacity, and playing virtual reality, followed by PlayStation games, followed by reading a book, all before stepping into bed, my brain is turned on to the max by the time I go to bed. So ultimately, I need to cut back on the creatine, cut back on the things that I'm doing early to late evening, and try and get some GD sleep. I haven't quite got round to it yet. There was a thing that was saying, is creatine addictive? And the answer is a categorically no. Creatine is not addictive. However, being awake and alert and able to process things better kind of is. So, yeah, I know what I need to do. I'm getting there, getting to it slowly. Anyway, right, let's talk about some movie. No TV this week. Obviously is one of my favourite words. I didn't know if you realised. Not obviously, but with having all the children, me and Leanne very rarely get a chance to sit down and do anything. There's a lot of, like I say, passing out for some people. Movies, on the other hand, I have a new-ish movie and a new movie to talk about. The newish movie is myself and my youngest daughter went to see How to Train Your Dragon, the live-action remake, on a sneaky screening, naughty, because I wanted to take everybody. Wasn't able to do that. I felt guilty as a parent because I wanted us all to see it. So I took all the girls to see How to Train Your Dragon. I asked my eldest which was the best version of How to Train Your Dragon, and she said the one we just saw, and I said, get the fuck out of my house. I don't think it's a better version. I do think it's a very good version. There's a lot I don't like about it, but there is a buttload of stuff I do like about it. So I am happy it exists. I will buy it when it comes out. We will sit and watch it as a big old family. And hopefully we can enjoy it once more. Having already seen it, I imagine I probably reviewed it at the time, so I don't feel the need to go into it again. Let's move on. Somebody recommended to me the film K-Pop Demon Hunters, and I said, I'm sorry, what? Is that thing I've seen advertised on Netflix where, like, K-pop? Why are you telling me to watch this film? Oh, it's great. Oh, okay. I then saw a clip of it, and it said, from the people that made Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And I was like, go on. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to watch this on the pretense that I'm watching it to see if the girls would like it. Part way into my watching this movie journey, I was informed that my middle daughter has not seen it. well, no duh on that one. But apparently everyone in her class has and talks about it non-stop and sings all the songs non-stop. And apparently she's in that kind of camp of not quite being bullied, but they're like, why haven't you seen this? It's the best. So I then made it my mission to get it watched to see if they should watch it, and they absolutely should. I'm not the target audience for this movie, I would like to add, but I thought it was great. The soundtrack's freaking awesome and expensive, because yes, I've looked to see if we should get it. It was really good. No, a criticism, if I needed one, would be that the story could have been written on a napkin and copy and pasted from a bajillion other films, because my God, we've never seen that story before. Other than that, though, the music makes up for a lot, because the music was very good. The style being done in that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse style, as well as the K-pop kind of side of things, it all just worked. It was really good. I thought it was really well done. One of those, definitely happy to show my children it. I think they'll all really enjoy it. Speaking of showing children films, I've been sort of sending my eldest daughter down this route of watching like all these classic sort of films that I consider to be like classics. Some like musicals and stuff. She watched Little Shop of Horrors, which I was like, you want to watch that, really? She was like, yeah. I'm like, sweet. I love Little Shop of Horrors. Anyway, let's go on to some computer games. Going all the way back to the first thing we talked about, which was the new Steam Deck, the opportunity to play games on 2 Steam Decks presented an interesting idea, which was we would have to buy 2 games the same on the same account, different accounts on the same family, to be able to play the same game. That just seemed silly to me. Why have a library if we can't use it? Unless you had a free game. Because if you've got a free game, then you can both install the free game and then play it for free, so you don't have to buy a copy. Like, I don't know, maybe a game where you could both fly around like superheroes. I reinstalled DC Universe Online to both Steam Decks, in that, oh, wouldn't it be cool to play this with one of my children? And thought very little of it. Until me and my daughter, eldest daughter, got characters set up. I had to make a new character. I was a little miffed about that. We got characters set up and off we went. And I was like, she's not going to enjoy this. She's not going to want to do this. She won't. She'll get so far and she'll be like, oh yeah, it was fun that. Turn it off and never want to do it again. End of story. That wasn't the case. She played it, could do it, was able to follow instructions, like, oh no, go that way and I'll meet you there, sort of thing, and she would. And I was like, right, come over here and you fight these guys and I'll do the pressing of the button thing, and she was able to do that. And we took down like a couple of bosses and we went and did some stuff. We did some of her missions, we did some of my missions, we got leveled up, we got some superpowers, some additional superpowers, like some proper superpowers. And I'm like, yep, this is pretty much everything I've ever dreamed of right here. All I ever really wanted was like a buddy to play games with on like my sort of schedule. That's all I wanted. All I wanted was somebody who was like, I'll play with you. And I'd be like, cool, let's play this game. And they'd be like, sure. And we'd play and have a great time. And I achieved my goal. And now, I don't know whether I want to say what I was about to say, but yes, happy parent. Then we had this situation. When we get home later, do you think me and you should play more DC Universe? And I would be like, yeah, if we get time, if there's an opportunity for us to sit and do that, we should probably do that. Whilst inside, like, yes, it's happening. On the last day that we had together, the last sort of thing we did was play together, and it was I personally enjoyed it. I think it feels like she seems to be getting similar enjoyment out of it, so super happy about that. Tried to get my youngest daughter into it. She played for a little bit and was like, nah, and then was having a conversation literally this afternoon about playing games, and I was like, man, can you imagine if you were able to drive a car as Mickey Mouse for free? And maybe, I don't know, if we had another device where somebody else could also drive a car as a Disney character for free, because some weird Disney racing game just happened to pop up in front of me. I was like, that's strange. So we might have a look at that tomorrow or the next day. Okay, now we're getting into the big boys. Now we're getting into the serious games. Believe it or not, I am still, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, I am still playing Elden Ring, and doing it. I'm scared. Couple of things sort of quickly, looking at the time this is running. I keep telling Sam, I'm cheating. He's like, you're not cheating. You're using the tools that the game gives you to win. I'm like, yeah, when you say it like that, that sounds great. But the way I look at it is I cheated all the way through to get here. I found a ruin farm, which is how you level up, and farmed the shit out of it until I got my character to level 50, and then started fighting bosses and going, well, that's you dead. In the process of doing this, there was a point where I was like, I'm just going to do this one more time, get one more set of ruins, level up once more, upgrade a weapon or two, and I'll be away. And in the process of doing that, ended up killing my ruin farm. And that's that, because there's nothing you can do about that shit. So, fuck. Apparently, being level 53 is enough at this stage of the game. I killed a dragon. And I did it first time and was like, fuck, bro, that's insane. And was genuinely ecstatic when I did it. I was shouting to everyone in the room. I was like, I did it, I killed a dragon, I did it. And everybody couldn't have given less of a shit. And I was like, somebody care that I did this thing that's hard. And I did it. I killed a dragon. I went into a dungeon and I killed a boss. And I went to another place and I killed another boss. And then the video thing that I've been following was like, right, next time we're going to go and do this. And I saw the name in the title of the video and went, that's one of the big ones. That's one of the bosses they say is like one of the hardest in the game. Oh, fuck. So then proceeded to go and farm for like what felt like 2 hours just to get enough to level my weapon up. A very long story that's probably quite boring. So as it stands, I am still playing Elden Ring. Baffling to me. Absolutely baffling. Other games I'm playing at the moment, Assassin's Creed Shadows. A couple of things I've written down here is, one is that there's just too much stuff to do. And it makes the game really overwhelming. Like, you spend your time going, well, what do I do next? There's just too much. There's too much stuff. You will never really understand what you're supposed to be doing. There doesn't really seem to be like a main story, go here, do this kind of thing. You just seem to have a million different side quest things. That seems to be the whole game. When you are doing missions, this is another thing that's a real downside, because it's a standard Ubisoft time-wasting game of, hey, let's have a chat, okay? Oh, by the way, go and meet me over there. Well, we're stood here now talking. Can we have the rest of the conversation here? No, you have to travel 3,000 meters that direction to finish this conversation. Okay, can I fast travel there? No, you can't. Cool, that sounds awesome. Brilliant. You get there, let's have a chat. Oh, why don't you meet me 5,000 meters in the opposite direction? At which point you're like, why don't you fuck off? It's just a massive time waster. It doesn't respect your time in any way, shape, or form. I will say this, playing Elden Ring and then going to play in Assassin's Creed Shadows, it feels very much like, wow, this is a real step down in game play, in game making. In Assassin's Creed Shadows, your characters are so wildly different that you wonder what the point is. You've got like what's the true sort of assassin who's great in certain situations and terrible in other situations. Then you've got like the samurai who is essentially a tank, but he can't climb for shit. So if you've got like a tower that you need to climb to unlock the like area map thingy, you can't do it as the samurai. You have to switch to the assassin. Is the switching nice and quick to switch between characters? Is it hell-like? It takes ages. You're just like, this mechanic is bollocks. I wish there were upgrades. I wish there was an upgrade that made the assassin more like the samurai and the samurai more like the assassin. Like a climbing upgrade for the samurai would be awesome. Alas, nothing as yet. Finally, had a little sort of break from Into the Radius 2, partially from a mod perspective. Like them taking all the mods away was annoying, if I'm honest. And I've been enjoying other stuff, and I kind of wanted to put some time into other games, so I was kind of happy to walk away. Did have a little look at the website that's got the mods on, and the mods said that they actually did work. So to verify that, I put them back into the game and tested the game, which they were correct. The mods did work, so I've gone back to playing that. Again, in a weird sense, I feel Elden Ring may have I feel like it's maybe tarnished me for other games, because I'm feeling like, oh, maybe I should go and like try and do another section of the video, and that kind of thing. So I'm a bit like, is this game ruining me for other games? We'll see, I suppose. Anyway, there we go. That is the podcast for this time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I will catch you next time. So there we go. What do you think of that? Doozy of an episode. Bit of that creatine I'm taking. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here, being a part of the podcast. If you haven't already, please do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. And check out our website, thecookiecast.com. There we have social media links and an email button. And that way you can get in touch with us if you need to, if you want to. Say hi. That is it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thanks for listening. If you liked this episode of CookieCast, please like, share and subscribe.